Hey everybody, how's it going? It's been a hot minute, huh? A lot of these videos I've been uploading, they've just been what you're seeing right here, like the sped up stuff with some music over top. Again, it's super hard for me right now to be getting narration and even live streams going. It's been a while. I miss it. I would tell you guys that I'm hoping to fix that and do more of them soon. That's always something I want to do, but life is what it is right now. So we're gonna have to just deal with this stuff here. What this is for actually is it's a character of mine named Olin from a tabletop role playing game, and I'll talk a little bit about that probably after the artsy fartsy stuff, or I'll try to sprinkle it throughout. But the style that I'm drawing here, you can see actually in the top right there, the reference is a picture I drew of Olin. Actually, the first version I drew of him, which is in my more classic traditional style of drawing. The coloring I will mimic sort of in this style here, but I've just been itching to do some like Jack Kirby inspired stuff, man. Like some fat, thick lines and anatomy that doesn't, I don't want to say anatomy that doesn't make sense, but like shadows on the anatomy that doesn't make sense. So if you look at this drawing right here, in my opinion, I don't want to say there's Bruce Timm. Well, maybe there's some Bruce Timm, but like a more of an animation feel, I like to call it. Where a great example here is from the top of his head all the way down to his elbow. You could draw like a curve, right? And you could fit all the anatomy inside of there. I say Bruce Timm because he's, everybody knows Bruce Timm, especially if you like Batman. A lot of people enjoy his stuff for that. But just in animation, it's just a trick and a technique that's taught very early. And what it does is it just creates motion. And you don't have to draw in an animation style. You could draw proper anatomy and stuff. And those rules will always apply. I think some people don't call it lines of beauty. They might call it your through line or the spine or your gesture line. It's all similar. How you build off of it is whatever. But like right there, what I was putting in the forearm there, those muscles don't make sense. But again, I had the itch to do the Kirby inspired stuff, and what I love about it is Kirby doesn't care. Kirby just likes putting in, or he liked putting in just story and emotion into the drawing, right? It's static. You want to add as much motion as you can. Sometimes, for some people, that's a sacrifice of proper reality, anatomy and stuff like that. I love it. Anyway, I'm going off on a Kirby tangent here. And I got to be honest, guys, like working more and more like this stuff, I miss it. I miss it a lot. Even while I was drawing right here, I was kind of feeling like, I don't know, this is kind of feeling kind of wacky. But I always have to remember, since I do a lot of coloring these days, it's going to look much different than it looks as I'm working with it, and it's tough. Sometimes I just want to go in there, and go, you know what, this isn't right. Let's start scrapping it and all that kind of stuff. But right now, what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing a one brush to do like the outlines, like the contour, the shape, and then I'm going in over top with a thicker brush that gives me the sort of Kirby lines that I'm doing, and then what I'll do is I'll go back in with the finer ink brush, I guess you could call it, and just kind of put in the detail lines. So try to think of it like working with contour. Always make sure that contour shape is great, and then going inside to add the details. And I was doing that. If you guys go back to a couple videos, actually probably the last few videos that I posted that I was talking about earlier, where they're sped up with just music over top. That is the process that I've been working with. My traditional method of drawing with just like the micron and then putting a contour line over top and then inking over top, I still do from time to time. It's my pillow, my little comfort zone when I need to get work done, and I know the process will always work. This kind of stuff, I feel I've always, and I've said this to you guys for a while, when I start working in these different styles where it's more cartoony or it looks more whatever, I get super self-conscious about what people think about it. In terms especially of, let's say I just want to do this. I got to be honest, I would love to just draw like this forever. This, and I think there's another style that I draw where it's just like a line art. I'm trying to think if you could go back and look. Actually, I'll open up. It'll pop up really quickly. It's like this floating dude, and I'm pulling a paper texture off of it. Once we get into the finishes of the color, I'd like to draw on that stuff too. I just don't have. I don't have the balls to do it, to be honest. Because, and this is the insecurity coming out. When I draw my more traditional stuff, like again the Olin picture in the top right, I know it gets me work. And that's a good thing. And I don't ever want to make that sound like I'm ungrateful. I'm always grateful for anybody asking me to do work and pay me for it. That's one of the best things you can have as an artist, is people actually wanting you to work for them. So it's this ebb and flow of what to do, but in my heart of hearts and the way time is, I can't even do streams anymore. I just don't have the time. Being able to hammer this stuff out, like this drawing in total, even with the coloring, I think total took like a little over a half hour, like 40 minutes tops. To me, that's like, yes, that's it. And it's got the power. It's got the big black chunky shapes. Like look at the shadow I added on the arm from behind that's holding the top of the hilt, or under the hilt there, or even the shadows underneath his goatee. I would normally go in there with proper shadows and like contour that stuff out, make sure it wraps around form. But again, the Kirby stuff that I love is that it's just, I'll call it blobs, but they just add something that I feel like I don't see enough in art. And the artist in me looks at that stuff and goes, it's not right. You know what I mean? Like it's this weird back and forth. And if you guys have been with me in any streams, I've talked to death about this stuff. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Maybe we'll see more of this stuff. Who knows, right? The coloring, we're going to do some flats, and then we're just going to do our traditional drop layer of, I think, purple or maybe blue over top, and then I'm going to multiply that to make it a shadow. You'll see all that. You can watch a bajillion of my other videos. This process is no different. I don't do anything different here that I normally haven't done in any videos for the last couple of years, to be honest with you. So I've only got a few minutes left, and I just wanted to quickly talk about role-playing games. And some of you guys could just turn off right now, and I understand that. So, with everybody being at home and all that stuff, I've just been having the itch, and I've been getting into board games maybe for the last year or two for solo play. And I know it might sound weird, like, board games are for, playing with people, it's games and stuff, but solo gaming has scratched an itch that I haven't been able to scratch in a long time. Video games are cool, but there's something about playing analog and not on a screen and stuff like that man, I can't get enough of it. I don't call it wholesome, but it feels like it fills a spot that I definitely need and that I don't get anywhere else. So I don't know how YouTube sometimes does some wonderful things and shows you things that you didn't know you needed to see. And I forget what it was, but it was a channel saying playing Dungeons and Dragons solo, like by yourself. And I won't go into the whole rabbit hole. I could talk or make more videos on that for those that are interested. But really what it boils down to is, for those of you that never played Dungeons & Dragons, you might not know what I'm going to start talking about here. But when you sit down to play with other people, or one guy running the dungeon master, the game master, he's the one that's basically setting the rules, right? He's telling you what's this, what's that. Yes, you can do that, make a roll, make a check. And without that, isn't that Dungeons and Dragons, or isn't that tabletop role-playing games, is what I'll just call them from here on out. And it is an aspect of it. And I guess people have been playing solo for since the 70s and 80s, I found out, which is nuts. And really what it is people have developed resources that can emulate a dungeon master, or an oracle, as it's called in some of these circles here. That again, I'm just getting into the community here, and it's been a blast. And what these oracles do is they answer yes and no questions you might have. So you might go into, everybody always talks about going into the tavern looking for work. Well, how do you find work? Well, you roll on the oracle. Is there anybody there? Yes or no. And what you do is, it's a lot more complicated than that. It's simple, but I mean complicated in terms of dynamic, and there's a lot more than just yes and no. But it allows you to weave stories from your imagination that, honestly, I've only played Dungeons & Dragons, I think maybe 1 or 2 years tops in my life, and that was around high school, and I had a lot of fun. And this might sound conceited, and again, it's all in my head, but what I've been playing this last, I'd say month, really, is when I've been getting into it, has been the best gaming experiences I've played in a long time. And I don't want to oversell it and make it sound like it's, oh my God, this is the thing, but it's been insane, you guys. I've tried Dungeons & Dragons, and now I've moved to something called Basic Fantasy, which is super simple. It's a simplified version, so the rules aren't crazy. You can get it online for free. But you need an oracle, which would be your Game Master emulator, which is the game system itself, right? And there's a whole bunch you can use. And then you need rules, like a rule set. That's where Dungeons & Dragons could come in, or like I said, Basic Fantasy, which I'm playing. And then you can get some things like random tables, and what those random tables could be anything, where you're rolling dice and it's going, I walk into a shop, what do I see? And you could roll on a table of random items, and all these things can come up, like a skull or a potion with a frog in it that's still alive. You can start weaving things together, like, well, what does that mean? And all that stuff. But anyway, this video is wrapping up, but I've been having fun with that. I just wanted to share that. So that's where this character comes from. It's from my solo role-playing games. But anyway, Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think I'm just saving up. Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about right there. That style. Oh, I love that style too. But this Kirby stuff, man, like there's a sexiness to it that I love it. Anyway, hope you guys had a blast. Hope you guys learned a little bit of something watching the process. And like usual, you guys keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.